Welcome to this episode of the story. Have you subscribed yet? Chapter 92, Life and Death Battle and the Sudden Appearance of a Turning Point. The Dark Coalition army surged towards the people of Linksea Town like a surging black tide, menacingly, as if it were going to devour everything. Looking at the approaching enemies, Sumu felt no fear in his heart. He quickly made a judgment and shouted loudly, "Everyone, hold the spiritual fantasy star array steady. Don't panic. We'll respond to changes by remaining unchanged and wait for the opportunity to counter-attack." Inspired by Sumu, the cultivators of Linksea Town calmed their minds and fully maintained the operation of the spiritual fantasy star array. The star, like spiritual power shield, emitted a powerful light, firmly protecting everyone inside. The vanguard of the Dark Coalition army launched an attack first. Various dark spiritual power spells like black meteors smashed towards the shield. Explosions of boom, boom, boom sounded one after another, and the spiritual power lights intertwined and flickered. The entire battlefield was instantly illuminated as brightly as day. The leader of the Dark Coalition army stood at the rear, coldly watching the battlefield, a hint of disdain hanging from the corner of his mouth. He said to the Dark Advisor beside him, "Do they think they can resist our attack with just a small formation? Humph! Increase the attack intensity and break through their defense as soon as possible." The Dark Advisor bowed and scraped, quickly conveying the order. The attacks of the Dark Coalition army became even more intense. The shield of the spiritual fantasy star array trembled violently under the powerful impact, and its light flickered erratically. Sumu knew very well that this couldn't go on like this. Although the formation was powerful, it would eventually be unable to hold up under the continuous attacks of the Dark Coalition army. While trying to stabilize the formation, he circulated his reverse, Time Spiritual Power, attempting to find the flaws of the Dark Coalition army. Under the perception of the reverse, Time Spiritual Power, Sumu discovered that although the Dark Coalition army had a large number of people and fierce offensive, there were still flaws in their attack rhythm. There was a brief gap between each round of attacks. An idea flashed in Sumo's mind, and he quickly informed everyone of this discovery. "Everyone, listen up! Wait for the gap in the enemy's attack, and then we'll launch a counter-attack. Follow my command and concentrate our strength to attack their left flank." Upon hearing this, everyone nodded, and a determined light flashed in their eyes. Just as the Dark Coalition army finished one round of attacks and was about to launch the next, Sumu shouted, "Counter-attack!" The cultivators of Linksea Town, with the blessing of the spiritual fantasy star array, gathered their spiritual power together and unleashed the powerful stellar spiritual explosion. A huge spiritual power beam shot out from the shield like a brilliant meteor, blasting towards the left flank of the Dark Coalition army. The Dark Coalition army didn't expect the people of Linksea Town to take the initiative to counter-attack. For a moment, they were caught off guard. The spiritual power beam accurately hit the left flank of the Dark Coalition army, and a series of shrill cries immediately followed. The left flank of the Dark Coalition army fell into a brief chaos. Some dark cultivators were sent flying by the powerful spiritual power impact and fell to the ground. Seeing this, the face of the leader of the Dark Coalition army darkened, and he angrily shouted, "Useless! Hold the formation steady and continue the attack." The Dark Coalition army quickly adjusted their formation, stabilized the chaos on the left flank, and launched an even more intense attack. This time, it seemed that they had learned their lesson, and their attack rhythm became even closer, making it difficult for the people of Linksea Town to find an opportunity to counter-attack. The shield of the spiritual fantasy star array was under tremendous pressure, and fine cracks appeared on it. Sumu was extremely anxious. He knew that he had to come up with a new method, otherwise everyone would be in danger. Just then, the illusory figure suddenly appeared beside Sumo and said, "Sumo, I'll give you a hand. Concentrate the power of the Eye of the Spiritual Abyss and attack the leader of the Dark Coalition army. Once we can defeat him, the enemy will surely be thrown into disarray." Sumo nodded, took a deep breath, and gathered all the reverse, time spiritual power, spiritual spring spiritual power, space spiritual power, and the power of the Eye of the Spiritual Abyss together. The illusory figure formed seals with both hands and injected a powerful auxiliary spiritual power into Sumo's body, enhancing his strength. Sumo unleashed the most powerful move that integrated multiple spiritual powers: Spiritual Abyss, Reverse, Time, Ultimate Kill, Chaotic Starfall. A multicolored spiritual power meteor containing the power of time regression, space distortion, life purification, and order judgment, with the momentum of destroying heaven and earth, shot towards the leader of the Dark Coalition army. Where the spiritual power meteor passed, the space was torn into black cracks, time seemed to stand still, and everything around fell into a chaotic state. The leader of the Dark Coalition army felt the terrifying power of this move, and his face changed drastically. He quickly circulated the spiritual power throughout his body and unleashed the ultimate defensive spell of the Dark Coalition army, the Dark Chaotic Barrier. A huge black barrier appeared in front of him. Guiyi runes flickered on the barrier, exuding a powerful dark spiritual power fluctuation. The moment Spiritual Abyss reversed, Time, Ultimate Kill, Chaotic Starfall collided with the Dark Chaotic Barrier. The entire battlefield seemed to be paused, and then a deafening explosion erupted. A powerful spiritual power shock wave spread out in all directions, centered on the collision point. The surrounding ground was torn into huge gullies. Trees were uprooted and turned into powder in the air. After the light dissipated, countless cracks appeared on the Dark Chaotic Barrier, and it teetered precariously. The leader of the Dark Coalition army spat out blood, and his face was as pale as paper. He didn't expect Sumo to be able to unleash such a powerful move, which almost cost him his life. Seeing their leader injured, the Dark Coalition army was immediately thrown into chaos. Seizing this opportunity, Sumo shouted loudly, "Everyone, attack with all your might!" Don't give them a chance to catch their breath. The cultivators of Lingxi Town, with the blessing of the spiritual fantasy star array, unleashed various powerful spiritual power moves, then launched a full-scale counterattack towards the Dark Coalition army. For a moment, lights shone brightly and shouts of killing shook the sky. Under the circumstances of their leader being injured and the fierce counterattack of the people of Lingxi Town, the Dark Coalition army began to retreat steadily. However, at this moment, a mysterious dark force suddenly surged out from the ground, enveloping the Dark Coalition army. The injuries of the Dark Coalition army quickly healed, and their morale was greatly boosted. They stabilized their formation again and fell into a stalemate with the people of Lingxi Town. Sumo was shocked. Looking at that mysterious dark force, he felt a familiar yet powerful aura. This force. Could it be that the unknown force from before is secretly helping him? Sumo thought to himself. The illusory figure also noticed the abnormality of this force. He said to Sumo, "This force is indeed mysterious and unpredictable. It seems we're in big trouble, but we can't back down. We must find a way to break the deadlock." Sumo nodded. He circulated his reverse, time spiritual power again, trying to find the flaw of this mysterious dark force. Under the perception of the reverse, time spiritual power, Sumo discovered that although this dark force was powerful, its core seemed to be hidden deep underground, connected to the spiritual power of the Dark Coalition army. An idea flashed in Sumo's mind. He came up with a risky plan. "Senior, I plan to go deep underground, find the core of this dark force, and destroy it. You help me hold the situation here," Sumo said to the illusory figure. The illusory figure slightly frowned, but he knew there was no better way at this time, so he could only nod in agreement. "Be careful. I'll try to buy you some time." Sumo took a deep breath, used the reverse time-space dive, and instantly disappeared in place, entering the ground. Under the command of the illusory figure, the cultivators of Lingxi Town continued to fight against the Dark Coalition army, buying time for Sumo. Sumo quickly shuttled underground, advancing towards the core of the dark force, guided by the perception of the reverse time spiritual power. Along the way, he encountered various obstacles of dark spiritual power, but he resolved them one by one with his powerful spiritual power. Finally, Sumo found the core of the dark force. It was a huge black crystal, exuding a strong dark aura, continuously transmitting power to the Dark Coalition army. Without hesitation, Sumo circulated the reverse, time spiritual power, spiritual, spring spiritual power, space spiritual power, and the power of the eye of the spiritual abyss, and unleashed the spiritual abyss, myriad phenomena annihilation, purifying light. A powerful purifying light that integrated multiple spiritual powers shot towards the black crystal. Sensing the danger, the dark aura around the black crystal quickly condensed, trying to resist the attack of the purifying light. The purifying light collided fiercely with the dark aura. Light shone brightly, and the dark force surged wildly. Can Sumo successfully destroy the black crystal and break the deadlock? Can the people of Linksea Town, led by the illusory figure, withstand the attack of the Dark Coalition army and wait for Sumo's return? Everything is full of suspense, making people unable to help but worry for them. The story continues. More exciting content is coming up. Subscribe as soon as possible.